This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, good evening, everyone. How are you doing today? Good evening, online. Good evening. Okay, so hope everyone are doing good. Yeah, Dinesh, what was that? Okay, so hope everyone are doing good. How about your practicals completed? Completed, huh? Super. Online? What is the issue, Dinesh? So as I told you, Kubernetes manifest files are very case sensitive. Very, very case sensitive. If you just put only one small letter, capital letter somewhere, and then it will not work. And as I said, the containers will not get created properly. I mean, pods will not get created properly. So that, and then you will get that status as a crash loop back off and all. But anyways, so what did we discuss in our last class? Hmm? Deployment, jobs. Huh? Yeah. So deployments we have done. We have updated the application, and then we have done rollback, rollouts, right? And then we have scaled out, scaled in, and then later what we did, one pod, multiple two containers we have done. And next what we have done the jobs. So mainly we have three types of jobs. What are those? Non-parallel, with the fixed. Next, work queue. So there, first one, non-parallel we have given. So what is the parameter that we have given there? Completion. And then if you want to do it parallelly, then we need to give parallelism. So, and then also we have done that. And also we have done the cron job. We have done what? Cron job also yesterday. That was really fantastic topic. So today it's time for you to set up what? Kubernetes cluster using Kops. Using what? Kops. I told you that till now. So purpose of using Minikube, actually in real time we don't be using, we are not using Minikube because Minikube works on single node cluster. So if I did the first day, guys, whatever we have done so many commands in the Kubernetes till now, right? All those commands can be done in Minikube also. All those commands can be done in the Kops also. All those commands can be done in the kubeadm also. Commands are same. Cluster formation is different. So cluster formation we did using Minikube. If you have done the Kops on the first day itself, and remember, Kops is not free for you. Kops master node, we need to have minimum T2 medium. Which one? Worker nodes are fine. T2 micro is fine, but still I recommend to go for T2 medium. But here to make you to keep the cost in the conscious, so I'll go master as T2 medium and the worker as what? T2 micro. So if you have done these practical Kops on the day one itself, by now you might be getting a lot of bill. So for that is the reason I took what? Minikube first, and we practice all the commands with the single node. And now enough, let's go to the actual cluster. So from now onwards, once you are done with the set up the cluster and once you are done with it, please delete it. And how many hours that you use T2 medium will be charged for you. Okay. T2 medium, how much cost? T2 medium, how many rupees? Rupees. 4 rupees, huh? 4 rupees only, no? Yeah, nice. Should we go and set up Kops now? Yeah. To set up the Kops, first of all, what we need to have? We need to have the machine to run our commands, right? So let us go and set up our first machine, T2 micro. That is only to run the commands. But Kops, cluster will be created separately with the master and nodes. And all that master and nodes, the commands will be run using this T2 micro machine. What should I give the name for this? Huh? No, I'm not creating master node here. Kops. Or else trigger node. Yeah. Trigger node KH. Okay, you can give anything, that's fine. I'll go with our Amazon Linux 2. So in order to create our cluster, we need to have one machine, right? So that is the machine. But all the commands will be running from this machine only. Okay. I can call it as Y to put Kops. Okay. Kops. That's fine. 8 GB is fine. That's fine. Because pods will not be running here. Pods will be running on worker nodes. Yeah. So let's go and connect. It's fine, Savanthi. Guys, you didn't understood this. Kops, this is not a master node. Commander, nice name. What is that? Commander. So this one here, I'll be running the commands and I'll be creating the cluster, but using this cluster, it will create a master node and then worker node separately. So how many nodes will go for total? 3, 1 master, 2 nodes. So when I create a cluster from this machine, separately 1 master node and 2 worker nodes will get created. 1 plus 3. It's okay, Seventy. You can give T2 medium as fine. Let's go for less. If it is not working, just increase it to T2 medium. So I'm just making very conscious to make your bill less. If you don't, it's fine. Then go ahead with your wish. Yeah. You will get to know quickly with it. Hold on. What is our landing command? Let's set host name CTL, set hyphen host name. I call it as commander. Huh? Okay. Sudo hyphen. This is not master node, Babu. This is not master node. You can put Kops also, no problem. Let's put Kops. Huh? Where is that command? Gone. Huh? I exit. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Commander. Okay, so installation. So we have the Kops. What is the meaning of Kops? Kubernetes operation is a command line tool that helps you to create, manage, upgrade, destroy Kubernetes cluster on cloud platforms like AWS, GCP, and more. So Kops is a third-party tool. Kops is what? Third-party tool. So it's always refer as what? kubectl for the cluster. So if you want to set up creating production grade Kubernetes cluster on AWS, the best choice is what? Kops. There are so many tools are available, but out of this, the best choice will be that Kops. So what does it do, Nana? It will automate entire infrastructure, infra creation in AWS. That meaning what it does, it will create the master node, worker nodes, everything by itself. You know to do anything. So it deploy HA, it will do the rolling updates. It will save time, homogeneous, heterogeneous. And alternative is what? EKS, Minikube, KubeAVM, Rancher. No, remove that. It's not right. So it's a third-party tool. So that's a quick intro about the Kops. There is nothing. It is just a third-party tool which will help us to create what? Cluster. Okay, Nana. So Kops setup. So first what we need to do, we need to launch Amazon Linux 2 instance with the T2 micro and make sure that AWS CLI is installed. What is that? AWS CLI is installed. So as we are taking Amazon Linux 2, AWS CLI is already installed. How do we check? AWS -- version. Okay. Why, sir? Why? What is the relation between this Kubernetes and our AWS? Kubernetes, I'm setting up the EC2 instance. Kubernetes will need to talk to AWS services generally. No, right? So generally, no need to talk. But here, what I'm doing is, when you are setting up the Kubernetes, the state will be there, no? Kubernetes cluster state. That entire state information, I'll be carefully saving externally in S3. So just in case if something goes wrong with our Kubernetes cluster, we can import from what? S3. Like a backup. So our S3, so that's the reason why. So what I'm doing, I need the AWS CLI versions in order to configure the keys. If you don't have AWS CLI installed, we can use roles. We have roles now. Getting it? So what I do, first we will create a role and then what we do, attach admin permissions and attach to the EC2 instance or not. That is the first step that you need to be doing. So create a role and attach to this EC2 instance. What kind of permissions you give? Admin permissions you give. You know how to create a role? What is a trusted entity? Trusted entity is what? EC2 permissions, admin permissions. Go to IAM. So roles, create role. And then here what I need to select? EC2, click on Next, and here, administrator access, you select it and click on next and call it as K8 Kubernetes admin, something like this, and then click on create. I already created it. So I have the K8 admin. So how do you add the role? Actions, security, modify IAM role, and here K8 admin is there, which has K8 admin. Here click on this and then update. So these are prerequisites that you need to take, because if the Kubernetes is talking to AWS services and components, we need to have the permissions, right? For that reason, we have used roles. You can use roles also, or else what you can do? You can do this also. Dinesh, that's what I'm telling. You can do AWS configure. Is it good way to set up a keys here on the local machine? For that reason, which one I used? I use the roles. And then Dinesh, so and everyone, why I'm attaching the role here? Because this Kubernetes cluster will be talking to the AWS services like S3 and like load balancer. Remember in Kubernetes, we discussed about Kubernetes services. Services has 3 different types of services. What are those? Cluster IP, node port, load balancer. So load balancer did I created or not? For that reason, I'm giving the permission to this machine, admin permission, so that this Kubernetes will talk to the AWS services. Okay, Dinesh? Okay, ma. So let's go and set up. We can write a script also for this. And then first, it's always best to go and set up manually. Later, you can use a script. So for that, you no need to remember all this. And do you buy heart these things? Don't buy heart it. No one. So if you go and put it in internet, how to install Kops, you will get so many commands. But it's not a direct way that there's so many people give so many different commands which will not work for you. So people like us, what we do, we take here and there and we'll group it all the working commands I'm giving to you so that it will not be difficult for you to install. Right? Okay, so first what we need to do is here, we are downloading what here? Tell me what is it doing? What is downloading? It is downloading kubectl. What is downloading? So here we are installing kubectl and then Kops, because we need to have kubectl now for our to run the commands to manage the cluster. So we are installing here kubectl and then Kops. It's very easy to install. People will say that, sir, it is very, you have this word now in real time. Kubernetes, installing Kubernetes cluster is very difficult. People will say that. But see how we will do now. So let's take this and then run. So what will download? It download what? kubectl. Do ls. kubectl is there. Next, what is downloading? Kops is downloading. Download. Now we have Kops, kubectl, and then Kops readily available. So these are the 2 executables that we will be using it. Is it a directory or executable? It's a executable, not a directory. So is it good to be, okay, see where I am now in the /root. Is it good to be these executables in /root? No, we need to move all the executables in the separate USR something, right? So let's go and move it. So for that reason, first of all, what we need to give is we need to give execute permissions. What we need to give? So execute permissions we need to give. For that, we need to using chmod plus x. X meaning here giving executive. What is that? Execution mode permissions. And then for this and then kubectl. For both of the things, I'm giving the execute permissions. Okay. Then now is it good to keep it kubectl and then Kops in /root? No, we need to move it to USR local bin. So this is a place where all our executables will be there. So for that reason, what we do? Move which one? Our kubectl to USR local bin kubectl. So we are moving Kops to USR local bin Kops. Let's move. Move karo, move. Yeah, move karo. Move karo. Moved. If we do ls, we don't have here. So all these executables are in our USR local bin. So if I use now Kops, it will say command not found, because we have something called bash RC. Remember, in Linux we learned about bash RC. It's like our profile in our Linux, right? So what we need to do is we need to edit your vi.bash RC here. No? So if you do ls -el, do you see this profile here? Bash profile you have, and bash RC, chrc, all your shell related information, right? So this will get loaded whenever you log into your machine. This profile, whatever we have inside this will get loaded automatically. So what we are doing is we are exporting. Where is our executables? USR local bin. So I am putting that USR value and I am exporting into a $path variable. Remember, in Linux we have learned $path variable. So what is $path variable? It is a system variable allowing you to execute all binaries from this particular location. We are telling to our system, hey, when I use kops command, when I use kubectl command, go and look into this directory. So I'm exporting that path is equal to $path. This entire path I'm pushing it to where? In the $path. So without this, your kops kubectl commands will not work. If just in case if you get kops not found, kubectl not found, command not found, then make sure that you have not done this step. So what we do? Let's open vi, which one? Dot bash rc. So inside this, you can put anywhere is fine. Just paste this, export the variable. And then once you export it, what we need to do? We need to load the bash rc or not? What's the command here to load? Source dot bash rc. Okay. Okay. These all the things are required. These all the things are required for Amazon Linux, but in Ubuntu, you no need to do all the steps. But if you are using Amazon Linux, we need to do it. Okay. So next, we need to create a bucket to store our cluster information. There are two ways. Either you create a bucket manually. You know how to create a bucket. Yes or no? What question is this, sir? You know how to create a bucket in S3? Create a bucket, no problem. But as I'm using everything through CLI, so we can use our CLI command to create a bucket or not. Let's go and create a bucket. So how? AWS, I'm using what here? S3 API. What is that? Remember? Where did you use S3 API? In AWS, we have MPU, multi-part upload we have done. S3 API. So S3 API, what is I'm using here? Create bucket, hyphen bucket. What's the bucket name I'm creating? Riaz hyphen kops hyphen test bucket 123.k8.local. That's a bucket name. Sir, why you give it that nasty name? Use your wish. Give your own name. So, but many people, what they do is, guys, they will just copy paste this bucket. They just copy paste this one. What will happen? You know, let's say Subhash has copy paste this one and then enter. Ria's bucket, this bucket got created, and I'm sharing the same script to everyone. So everyone will let the same command, and they will come to me saying that, sir, this is not working, sir. Why it is not working? Bucket names are universal or not? So by reading it, you should read that error. If you read that error, then you understand, oh, bucket name is there already. So please remove my name and put your own name. Okay, my dear DevOps engineers. Okay. Yeah. Correct. So, and hyphen region, in which region I'm creating? Mumbai. And then hyphen bucket configuration location constraint I'm giving here this. So guys, generally till here is okay. But when I'm using this nowadays, this command till here it's not working. I need to put one extra parameter called location constraint. Then only this is getting work using S3 API. So let's go and create it. Okay. So what we do? Hey, state. Okay. What this is doing? Just creating a bucket. That's it. Bucket got created. So you got a location. This is the bucket got created in S3. Okay. I will not tell this command. You tell me what this command is doing. It's there clearly. Enabling what? Versioning. Why am I enabling versioning? Because if you have done any changes to my cluster information in S3, I have the backup. I'm telling you, I will not be teaching you normal Kubernetes. Production readily available Kubernetes, I'm teaching you. You can use the same thing and go to production in real time and then do it. Right? Same best practices. So let's go here and then enable it. And then what we are doing is here what we have export Kops state store. Our information cluster store information will be available in our S3 bucket or not. So we are telling locally that, hey Babu, so when you install the Kops will look for this variable. Kops state store. Say that. So where is our entire cluster information stored? In S3. So that's why we are providing the S3 bucket here. So guys, again, my so-called DevOps engineers, when you change the name here, make sure that you change in every places. Okay. So, sir, you only told in one line only, sir. We changed only one line. We respect your words. We obey you, sir. So you need to change here also, you need to change here also, you need to change here also, you need to change. Instead of saying that, just Control F, wherever you delete me. You delete me from your life. Delete me and put your own name. Okay. Yes. So now I'm exporting a variable. So my S3 bucket information will be inside this Kops state store. So this will be useful when you're setting up the Kops cluster. Hussein is saying we cannot delete you, sir. Riaz too. I'm just kidding, guys. Online. How can you delete me? If you delete also, I'll not get deleted. Shift delete will not work from your hearts. No. It will recreate. Self-healing will be there. Self-healing. Correct, Dinesh? Hussein? Yes, self-healing. And then enable versioning also. Yes or no? Yeah. Thank you, Muhammad Hussein. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so, and this is the guy will be creating the cluster. Let's go. Kops, create, cluster. What is the name of the cluster I'm giving? Riaz.kh.local. You can give any name, but just to show. So because I'm giving .kh.local because that will understand that is a Kubernetes cluster. And then in which zone I'm creating here? And master count. How many masters? What is the master size? Node count. Worker nodes how many? And what is the node size? Understood this? How simple command. Right. So here, if you run this, your Kubernetes cluster will get formed automatically. Kops will help you to create this cluster with this single command. Whereas if you go for some other tools like kubectl or some other tools, you need to do so many things. That's the reason why people will go with what? Kops, so that it will be less burden to manage your cluster, which is managed by this. Okay, should we go ahead? And then guys, do you see what is the master size I'm giving? T2 medium, and then worker size I'm giving as T2 micro. So if you feel bad, you can enable this to T2 medium also, no problem. Let's go and create it. Boom. And what it does, it will create its new VPC in AWS. Guys, in AWS, it will create a new VPC, new security groups, new EC2 instances, new volumes, new stuff, everything, new load balancer, new auto scaling group, new everything will be done by this automatically. That is the reason why I've attached the role to it. That's the reason why I've attached the role, because Kops will create its own entire infrastructure. Understood? So this is done. And what it says, once you create this, once you run it, don't leave the output. See the output, what it gives, right? It clearly says, now you need to specify -s to apply the changes. So for that reason, what we do here, Kops update cluster -name, we are just updating the cluster. We will run that command. Before running that command, do you see this here? Cluster configuration has been created. Cluster configuration, exactly, it worked like Terraform, correct. So suggestions. These suggestions, you need to keep it, copy this and keep it aside. Because what is this doing? See, list clusters with, what is the command to get the cluster information? Kops get cluster, keep that in mind. What is the command to list the cluster? Kops get cluster. Sir, you only told that we'll be using kubectl, no? This is the only command that we use for Kops. Kops. So anything related to the cluster information, this cluster got created by which one? Kops. That's the reason why you use Kops get cluster, and rest of all the commands will be kubectl only. To manage the cluster, we use kubectl. To get the information about the cluster, we go with Kops. That's a difference. And what is doing here? Edit the cluster with. So what's the command? If you want to edit the cluster, this is the command. Kops edit cluster. Guys, if you see, if you go to our here, if you refresh it, did it created the EC2 instance yet? It's not created yet, because we need to do something. It will create Ubuntu machines. Which machines? Kops in Ubuntu, and then worker nodes also in Ubuntu. No, sir, we don't want Ubuntu. We want Amazon Linux. So you can Kops edit cluster and then change that AMI. And then Kops will create a CLB. Which load balancer? Classic load balancer. Which one? Classic load balancer. No, sir, we don't want classic load balancer. We want application load balancer. Edit it and change it. So all your cluster information, if you want to edit it, what's the command that you use? Kops edit cluster. What is our cluster name? rias.kh.local. Okay. So now see this, to edit your node instance group. Node instance meaning our worker nodes. How many worker nodes are there? 2. If you want to increase the 2 to 20, simply use this command and go inside it. There is something called minimum maximum. Change from 2 to 4. And this is master. How many masters are there? 1. Run this command and you have minimum maximum. Change that from 1 to 2 or 3. Those many masters will get created. And these multiple masters also again managed by Kops. 1 master, 2 worker nodes is enough. But if you want 2 master nodes and multiple worker nodes, that is also can be doable. Understood? So these suggestions will help you if you want to change anything related to the cluster. But are we going to change? If I change, I need to wait, sitting like this, wait for so much of time to get updated. So those commands I'll give you in your Google Classroom, in your home. When you're doing the task, edit it and wait it. Worker nodes will get created. Master nodes will also get created. You do the test. Okay. So next, finally, what it says, read it. Finally, configure a cluster with what? Kops Or is it now ChatGPT will not work and not give solution? Yeah, correct. So Kops update cluster name, and then what you need to do? This one. Yes, hyphen yes, and then admin. So I clearly wrote it here. See, Kops update cluster hyphen name. Yes, admin. What is this doing? Kops update cluster meaning it. Yeah. So updates the Kubernetes cluster configuration, and hyphen name. This is my cluster name. Yes, meaning apply changes automatically without manual intervention. And admin meaning grant the current user admin privileges to the cluster. Which is the current user I'm using it? Root. Which is the current user? Root. And then it is giving the permissions to the cluster to the root user. No, sir, I don't want root user. You know how to create a user? User add and make it as sudo, and then if let's say money only, right? Madhu. So Madhu, create a user called Madhu, and Madhu want to manage this cluster. So log in as Madhu and then do this command. Okay. So now should I run this? Should I run this here? Update. So this will, okay, once that is coming up, and what we need to do finally, Kops validate cluster hyphen wait 10 minutes. So that meaning, so this is getting, see here, cluster is starting, it should be ready in few minutes. So now what I need to do is, see here, all are Ubuntu machines or not? These are all Ubuntu machines. And what is the next suggestion I need to do? Kops validate cluster hyphen wait 10 minutes. See guys, you don't need to go to internet and find all the commands. Here only I have. So this same commands I'm putting. What is the next command? Yes. And now it will validate the cluster. So validate the cluster meaning by this time we should have our machines. How many? One master, two worker nodes will get created by now. Refresh it. Ready? Understood? This is master and these are two nodes. So this is now initializing, right? Now it is initializing. So now what it's saying, what is the command? I mean, Kops validate cluster. Validate cluster meaning it will validate your master node, worker nodes are in ready state or not. Is in ready state now? Because it's still just born, right? It will take at least how many minutes? How many minutes? Huh? How many minutes will take our EC2 instance to get up? 3 minutes, maximum 5 minutes. So maximum 5 minutes. Okay, let's say 3 minutes at least. So 3 minutes or 4 minutes. So 4 minutes, what I need to do? I need to shut my mouth for some time. Yes or no? Yes. Okay. So what I need to do? So let's wait for some time. So now it's clearly said it's showing some errors or not. Why it is showing this error? Because so Kubernetes, our cluster is not reaching that worker nodes and master nodes yet. So once that is ready, automatically it will show that our cluster is ready. So until that, we need to wait and then watch. So once this is done, our setup is ready. Is this clear how to set up Kops? Online? Krishna, why we are giving 10 minutes wait time? If you don't, that is a maximum. Can you give 5 minutes also? Wait time I have given how many minutes? 10 minutes. So do we need to wait for 10 minutes actually? Before the cluster is ready, we no need to wait. So this it will say, now see here, you see master T2 medium, node T2 micro. Now it is getting the information or not? Validation errors is it giving. So it says that cluster not yet healthy. So cluster is not yet healthy. See, this machine has not joined the cluster yet. So slowly it will join. Once it is joined, what will happen now? Cluster will be ready. So maximum you're giving 10 minutes wait time, but it will not take that much time. Yes, Abhishek. But it's not good to have that static IPs, Abhishek, because this cluster, these worker node master nodes will automatically get created. Anytime worker node will scale out and scale in, right? In that case, and do you see this here now? True are coming. So there is one more node is required. True. So let's wait. So in that case, we don't use elastic IPs because so worker node master nodes will be managed by Kops. So if you scale out, multiple worker nodes will get created or not. In that case, will you use elastic IPs? No, we don't use, Abhishek. There is no logic. Hmm? And that too, why we need elastic IP if we have VPN connecting from company? You can connect to the IP address directly. See what is there now? Very nice, Tausif. ये 8 का काम अकेले ही करता है इसलिए K8s. Okay, that's a big one. Fine. Now do you see what it says? Cluster true, true, true. So now it is the cluster is what it says? Ready. Did I wait 10 minutes? Do I need to wait 10 minutes? Chumma I have gained 10 minutes. But by the time the cluster is ready or not, it will check wait, and finally it will come to the ready. So cluster is ready. Everyone clear how to set up cluster? So every day we need to do the same thing. Every day we need to do the same thing. So just to save the time, I need to, if I have time, I'll set up before itself. Otherwise, we need to together need to do it. So there are few things that we need to manually set up. There are few things that you need to automatically set up. You cannot make the entire script. I tried to make the entire script. Today only in GitHub, in DevOps scripts, do you see this Kops? So here I made the entire skip in one shot. I removed that actually. So I made that VI bash RC also. I did echo and then I just redirect all these things. But somehow it is not taking, it says kops command not found. So but it's not taking the environment variables. These commands are not working. So there are few things that you need to do. So bash RC, you modify it. So the manually you do it. Maybe these things you can automate it. Till here you can automate it. Till here you can write a script and then enter. And then validate cluster, all these things we need to do it manually. Okay, that's fine. Okay, ma. So I didn't copy that suggestion. The suggestion commands are there, no? Kops edit. So for example, do you see this here? What is the command to get the cluster information? Kops get cluster. So this is my cluster name or not? And in where it is created? In AWS. In which available is on 1A. So if you want to get the nodes information, so don't use kops. For only for cluster information, we'll get that. And then what's the command here? kubectl get nodes. And what is the master node called? Control plane. Rest are all called here nodes. And these are all the names of it. So if you want to modify things, kops edit cluster. I'm just showing it. I'm not editing it, but it's not at all recommended in real time to edit the cluster. I'm telling you, because this is a third party tool. If something goes wrong, it's really bad. So edit it. So I clicked on edit. Do you see the load balancer, what it is using? So we need to change it to, here need to change it to network. What is that? If you click, if you select network, it will create a application load balancer. Okay. So I'm not saving. Okay, no changes made. And if you want to edit your worker nodes, what's that? How many worker nodes are there? 2. If you want to change it, kops edit ig name, this command. You see, kops edit instance group, ig meaning what? Instance group hyphen name. What is the cluster name? This one. And then nodes hyphen. If you put here nodes, it will go to the worker nodes. If you put here master, it will go to the master. So let's say enter. If I enter, do you see this here maximum size, minimum size? How many are there now? 2. And those are T2 micro. And if you change this to 3 here, 3 and 3, how many worker nodes will created? One more worker node will get created. I want you to do it because it will take a lot of time to get update again. And simply you need to save it, but I'm not saving it. And if you want to edit the master nodes, same thing, change it. Clear? Online, is this clear? Chitty still here? Yes, Prajwal. So KOps is using classic load balancer. It's an old generation. You can change it to ALP. That's what I showed you how to change it, Prajwal. Okay, ma. So guys, do you see this here? If I go to AWS, you see these machines are getting machines got created here. And if you go to security groups, do you see? Do you see this security group got created here? One security group for which purpose? Nodes purpose. One security group for? Tell me. Master. And one security group for load balancer. So load balancer got created and it created his own VPC or not? It has set up his own VPC. Everything is now controlled by AWS itself. I mean, KOps, everything infrastructure is created in the AWS. Yeah. Private only. VPC is always private, no? Okay. So should we go and run some commands here? Whatever we have done in the Minikube, same thing. Creating the but is it good to create replica set or deployment? Should I show you replica set? No, directly we go for what? Deployment. We should be using what? Deployment, not the replica set. Replica set is the old one. So latest is what? Deployment. Okay, tell me the command to get to list the nodes. kubectl get nodes. If I want to get more information, -o white. So do you see this here? These are all this is internal IP and this is what? External IP. And OS image is what? Ubuntu. If you don't want Ubuntu, if you want Amazon Linux, you need to edit the cluster information or not. Change it. Okay. So now let's go and do some deployment here. Whatever we have done in Minikube, same thing we need to do it. So we need to have a manifest file. So instead of writing, I've explained so many times. I'll copy paste it. Manifest file. Same manifest file I'm using it. Do you see this here? Okay. Tell me vi deployment dot YAML. Okay. What is doing? It is creating 3 pods. What kind is this? What is doing? It's creating a deployment. So what is the name of the deployment? IB-deployment. What's the label? Bank. App is equal to bank. And then how many pods it will create it? 3 pods. And what is the image it use? Take image. Internet banking image. Which image? Same thing we did no in Minikube. So, and what is the container name? Cont1. That's what we learned this. You missed it yesterday class. You'll so replica set will create the pods. Deployment will create replica set. Replica set again will create the pods, and pods will again you have the containers. Okay. So how to deploy it? Kubectl. Dinesh, sir, we have taken Amazon Linux too, right? Why here showing Ubuntu? Easy to our Kops is see Amazon Linux 2 we have launched. As I said, this is the commander, right? This is the machine that I'm using. What machine is this? Kops machine, so called commander. Okay, I have installed Kops here. I've installed Kops and I created a create cluster. Created a and I have given information about master how many? 1. Worker nodes how many? 2. Then what it does? It created one master and it created 2 worker nodes. And this master is using which one? Ubuntu. This is also using Ubuntu. This is also using Ubuntu. If you want to change, you need to edit this cluster and change here to Amazon Linux. I already showed you now, right? Then it will use as Amazon. Understood, Dinesh? By default, it will take Ubuntu. Okay, so kubectl create -f deployment pods. Kubectl get pods. Pods are ready. My deployment is ready. How many pods got created? 3 pods got created. We are not in minikube now. We are in cluster. So these pods are in one machine or multiple machines. How do you check that? Super, yeah. You guys definitely will get jobs. Mark my words. In 9 o'clock morning, the few people already got the jobs. So those guys came and then they gave the sweet box. And then he got the job in HCL with AWS and DevOps. Okay. So -o wide. Okay, see. I'm not saying to give me sweet boxes, okay? Anyways, I don't eat sweets, okay? Okay, fine. So do you see this here? This is the deployment. This is a pod name or not? Pod ID. This is the pod ID running. IP address is this. And in which node it is? Node. This is a 58. Instance ID is what? 58. Will it launch in master? Tell me. Pods will launch in master. I told you in the basics. Master will not have the pods. It will be, or the pods will be created only in the worker nodes. So what is this ID? This is 58. So this is first node, right? And 58. Another node is 4D. So in 58, 2 are there. In 4D, 1. Yes or no? Tell me. In one worker node, two pods came. In one worker node, one pod came. Who is the guy who deciding this? Scheduler. Very good. Which one? Scheduler. Scheduler is that. This is how in interviews they'll ask the questions, right? So who is deciding that pods should created in which node? Scheduler will decide. Do you want to know how scheduler works? No need. That is Kubernetes engine that will take care of it. Okay, good. Now you all understood. So now I have 3 containers, right? I want 4 container pods. I have 3 pods, right? I want 4 pods now. What I do? We can scale in and scale out, but instead of that, can I also do this? Change the replicas to what? 4. And what I do now? Apply. Don't create it. What I need to do here? Apply. Understood? So if you want to apply on the existing resources, so then what we need to use? Apply. Tell me. kubectl. Apply. Hyphen F. So now it is. So if I do kubectl get pods, now 4 are there. Hyphen O wide. And do you see equally distributed now? 58, 58, 4D, 40. Got enough? Okay. Online, is this clear? Online, clear, please. Okay. Delete the deployment. What's the command to get deleted? First, get the deployment. What the list the deployments? kubectl get deploys or deployment. Anything is fine. So and delete the deployment. kubectl delete deploy. What's the deployment name? IB deploy. Deleted. So do we have anything here now? If I do kubectl get pods, terminating or not? So guys, whatever the things that we have done there in Minikube, the same thing also we can do it here also, but high availability. Here, now I'm not telling anything. You tell me, I want to create another deployment with mobile banking. How? Change the image, VI, where I need to change? Here, here I call what here? MB. And one more place I need to change. Deployment name, I change it to what? MB. kubectl, create hyphen F deployment. So kubectl get pods hyphen O Y. Got creating now equally. Online. Now it got clear, Nana? Okay. So now I want to scale out and scale in. So first of all, okay, those are all running now. So kubectl get pods. So now I have the 4 running. So now I want you to scale out. Come on. kubectl. Thank you, Vidit. With is okay. So okay, kubectl scale. What do you want to scale? Deployment, right? So what we call deploy? What's the deployment name? MB hyphen deployment hyphen replicas. How many? Go maximum. Here I'm telling 10, but if you're putting 50, T2 micro will not be sufficient. That's why you need to have more stuff, more big machine there. Okay. So now I go here and scale. And then if I do get pods hyphen O wide, do you see? Equally getting distributed. Who is doing this job? Our scheduler is doing this job, Cube scheduler. Right? Just now it was scale out. So scale in. What's that? Simple. Here, scaling to how many? Okay, 4 equally distributed, 2, 2. Yeah. Yes, you can check the events, kubectl events, Dinesh. Yes or no? In the events, you can see it. Or else you can do watch pods. Dinesh. So those are getting terminated. kubectl get pods. You can open one more terminal. What is the command to the pod, watching the pods? kubectl get pods --, watch. Dinesh, if you do so, how many pods are getting terminated? How many pods are getting created? Everything you get to know. Okay. Online, is this clear till here? Everyone, please. No. Then you need to check the logs. Now you'll get to know. See, so you need to kube schedule is also one of the pod only, right, Dinesh? Then you need to check the logs of that particular pod. Actually, you no need to worry about that at all. Do you need to worry about how the scheduler is working in the backend? Not at all. Don't unnecessarily go there. Earlier, I do manual deployment in Docker, which people thought was difficult. Yeah. Nice. Okay, ma. So now you all understood here? Okay, fine. So now let's move on to the next topic, which is leave me alone. Which one? Namespaces. Should we go with the namespaces? So what is the concept of namespaces? So I told you already, namespace, generally we cannot create multiple cluster for each and every team. Or else generally I cannot create multiple, yeah, exactly with it. VPC example. So now VPC example, same thing, no? So can you create for every customer separate VPC? No, right? You can have only one VPC. Inside that you can create a separate subnets, and then we can make use of it or not. So here also, so for every team, I cannot create the separate clusters. Instead of that, in that same cluster, what I can do, I can isolate the pods, in with the name of namespace, with the concept of namespace. So what is our default namespace? Default. What is the default namespace here? Default. So default namespace is here a default. And if required, can we go and create our own namespace or not? We can create. Let me do one thing here. Let us go and create a namespace called dev. Let me go and create a namespace called prod. Let us go and create a namespace called test. Right? 3, 2 is enough. Dev and prod. And then what we do, and then we'll set the context as to use dev namespace. And then what we create a pod inside the dev namespace. So now I will switch it to prod namespace. Can I see the dev prods? You understand what? So you need to follow me. Okay, see here. What I'm saying is, what is the default namespace that what we have? What is the command? kubectl get namespace. Shortcut? Hello, NS. Okay. NS, right? Namespace. What is the shortcut? kubectl get namespace. And so we have what here? Default namespace. And we have namespace related to node, kube node. We have namespace related to kube public and then kube system. So everyone have their own namespaces. So if you want to get the pods from the particular namespace, we can also get that information. Okay. So before I go inside it, you need to understand what is namespace. So namespace is a isolate area for the particular namespace. So let's say, for example, I can create a namespace called dev. Which one? Dev. I go inside the dev namespace. I created 3 pods. Dev 1, dev 2, dev 3. Now I switch it to do prod. I switch it to do prod namespace. And I created pod 1, production 1, production 2, production 3. Now tell me, when I am in my prod namespace, can I see dev pods? That was the question I was asking. So whenever I'm in the dev namespace, can I see production pods? Is isolated or not? That one I want to show you now. Got it? Online? Got it, Nana? Okay. So yeah. So generally, we cannot create multiple clusters for each team. Instead of what we create namespaces. namespaces will not talk to each other. That's why we call it, it's an isolated place in one cluster. So each namespaces can see their own pods. Of course, yes or no? Dev namespace can see its own pods. Prod namespace, it will see their own pods. So what are the default namespaces that we have here? Default namespace, kube node release. So default namespace is, this is a default namespace. All objects are created here. By default, till now, whatever that we have done, everything is in default namespace or not? Yes. And then kube node release, say that. It will store the objects which is taken from one namespace to another namespace. If you want to move the object part from one namespace to another namespaces, then this is the guy who will be taking care of it. So, and then all public objects are related to, everything will be inside this kube public. And then kube system, by default, KH will create some objects. Those are stored here in kube system. Kubernetes, by default, it will create its own, for its own objects, it will create, right? All those by default system related things will be under the kube system. So here, what is the command to get the namespaces? kubectl get namespace. And tell me again. kubectl get namespace, or we can call it as. So let's see what we have. Get pods. We have the pods running. Yes or no? In which namespace this pod is there? Default names. Did we created any other namespaces? No. Okay. kubectl describe pods. If you use kubectl describes pod, these are all the events that is related to this. If you go up, I can tell you one thing. If you don't see any namespace, that meaning, okay, do you see namespace? What's the namespace it using? Default. Okay. So can we create our own namespaces also? So there is a command here, kubectl get pods hyphen all hyphen namespaces. Say that. What does it do? Can you tell me what does it do? It will get all the parts from all the namespaces. But if you want to get only from particular namespace, get parts hyphen n. Which namespace that you want? Okay, first of all, can you tell me how to list the namespaces? kubectl get ns. And now tell me, kubectl get pods hyphen n. Which namespace that you want? Kube public you want. By default, there will not be anything inside it. Let's see. What it says? No resources found in the kube public. Should we go with the default? These parts are there in default. Next. Kube. इसमें रहेगा. Kube system. These are all related to what? Your etcd, right? Your kube API server. It is. It is. In masternode, I told you, no. Kube names, kube API server, kube scheduler, etcd, control manager, all those all pods only, no? All these pods are under kube system namespace. Is it good to go and unglify there? If you do something here, fadak, bomb blast will happen. Right? So, but the thing is here, these are all the pods running. And if you see here, I told you, cloud control manager. Remember cloud control manager? Next, DNS related, core DNS related controller is there, right? EBS controller, and then HZD, etcd, Kops, kube API server, kube control manager, kube proxy. This guy. Do you see this guy? See, there. Where? जाने दो इसको. So what do you do? kubectl logs and then give that pod. or else kubectl events, give that, you will get it. But kaigo bheja kharab, right? So, but we can use it. So guys, but these are all self-managed or not? So remember, in restart policy, we have given, yeah, I told you to you only, no? In the jobs, restart policy never on a failure. Remember? So these, yeah, sure, with it. So these pods will be created automatically with some manifest files only by the Kops. So that manifest files have something called restart policy as on failure. Whenever you say restart policy is on failure, that meaning if this pod is not working, what it does, it will recreate the another pod, or it will restart the pod, so that it will, your Kubernetes cluster will work properly. So for that reason, you will get here 2/2. And also sometimes what happens is, Kube API server, your cluster will not work sometime. What's that? Your cluster will not work. So how many times, let's do, you do one thing. What you do is, um, you edited worker nodes, right? Worker nodes, increase the worker nodes, no problem. Increase the master node and then decrease it again. These kind of nasty things you do it. All of a sudden, what will happen? Your cluster will stop working. So when I was doing this this exploring stuff, let's test this guy, Kops. I was doing at nights. Let's test this guy. Continuously create master nodes, worker nodes, remove it. This is going, and this Kops started abusing me. Arey, kaun re sale, what you are doing? So aram se create karo, aram se use karo na. Why you are unglifying me? So when I was doing, the cluster got corrupted. So what I did, acha, cluster corrupt ho gaya. So what I need to troubleshoot and fix it or not? So when I was troubleshooting it, I fixed it. That's the reason why I wrote somewhere. You see what I did? Scale. So I gave you options: scale out worker nodes and scale out master nodes. When I was scaling out and then scaling in, so this cluster got corrupted. Then what I did? So I troubleshooted it, and then I gave the solution for you. Just in case if you are doing like this, use this solution for you. This will be helpful for you. Okay. Okay. So I corrupted kubelet service actually. Kubelet is the agent, no? That's why pods are not getting created for me. That's fine. So, okay, let's go with name servers first. Okay. क्या हुआ? 1/1. What happened here? 1/1 meaning one pod contains one container. 2/2 meaning one pod contains two containers. We have done this, no? Yes, we have done this yesterday. Hmm? Yes, we can do. So what I do? What's the command that we use? kubectl exec -it and then -c for container, and give the container name, and then you can go inside container 1, container 2, and then go inside. Okay, so let's clear it. Yes, Bibek, let's do. Okay, Nana. So now we have listed all the pods from particular thing. So should we go and create a pod now? Should we go and create our name servers? Namespace. Name servers meaning I'm going with DNS concepts. Okay, let's go. What's the command? First, kubectl get ns, and then let's go and create kubectl. Create which one? What do you want to create? Namespace, and then what's the namespace that you want to create? For example, that's it. kubectl get ns. Do you see the dev here? So you created the dev, but you want to go inside. Now, currently in which namespace you are in? Default, right? So now if you want to switch it to dev, so there is a command. Read with me. kubectl. So if you want to see here in which namespace at the moment you are in, say with me, kubectl config view. Say that. If you say kubectl config view, what it says, let's read API. Cluster is fine. Name of the cluster, context, cluster name, user is this, name is this, current context. Current context meaning, see here, current context. Say that. Current context meaning in which cluster you are in now. In real time, you might be having multiple clusters, no? If you want to switch from one cluster to another cluster, you need to use this word, current context. Okay, so kind is config. Did anywhere mention it is namespace is default? If it is not mentioned, that is default. If it is not mentioned, that is default. So that is what is the command to check that? kubectl config view. Okay, so let's go switch it. kubectl config, say that, set hyphen context. What's that? Hyphen current hyphen which one? Namespace. Which namespace that you want to read? See that once. Keep that in mind. Okay, now read with me again. kubectl config. Anything related to namespaces, you use the word called config. kubectl config. You are setting the context. Set hyphen context hyphen current context. Which one? Namespace is dev. Now current context. Our cluster is now modified or not? What is rias.kh.local? This is my cluster name. This is my cluster. This cluster has been modified to use which namespace? Dev. Now I want to know. Okay, now I cleared it. Ooh. Now I don't know which namespace I'm in now. What's the command that you use? kubectl config view. Previously, did it show any namespace? Let's see whether it shows any namespace here. Where? Yeah. Yes or no? So if you don't see anything, that meaning default. So if you are specific into it, it clearly shows it is namespace is dev. Okay, ma. So now, if I do kubectl get pods, do I get any pods here? Sure. Huh? Sure. We already have four pods running, no? Correct. So if you say get pods here, no resources one, because in which namespace? Dev. You see isolated or not? Can I see that default pods here? No. Can I create our own pods here? Dev pods? Tell me the command to create pods. Uh, uh, uh. Now we got habituated with manifest files or not? That is good. So let's not create the pods. Generally, you don't create the pods using imperative. No, we need to use what? Declarative. For now, let's go and create kubectl. Bolo Subhash. Chepu. Run. So what I'm using? Pod name is day1 hyphen image. Which image I'm using, for example? Simply I'm creating. Don't give pod so many. Pod 1. Pod day1 got created. And I'll create one more. Dev 2. I'll create one more. Dev 3. So now kubectl get pods. Dev 1, Dev 2, Dev 3 are running or not? Now, I don't tell anything. You tell me create prod namespace and then creates a few pods inside that production namespace. First, kubectl get namespace. So we'll need to create it or not? Tell me. kubectl create ns prod. Prod got created. So kubectl, in which one you are now? In which one you are now? Dave, now you need to switch it back or not? So switch command is there, no? That big command. Here I need to put what? What I need to put? Prod. If I do kubectl get pods, do I have anything here? Obviously no. Let's create. Here I call it as what? Prod 1. Prod. So kubectl get pods. I can see only my production or not. Do you see how it got isolated? Online. So guys, if you want to list only particular pods, what's the command I showed you already? From particular namespace, kubectl get pods from where hyphen n namespace. Which namespace? Deva. Only Deva running. And if you want to do it from rods are running, and do you want and last one? Default. All are individual or not? Isolated or not? Online no? Clear? Of course you can. No issues, Dinesh. Guys, I created with Nginx in different namespaces. Can you create it with different images? You can do whole thing of things with your own namespaces. No issues. No issues at all. Okay. So but there is one thing here. Actually, people will tell you till here saying that namespaces done, chapter close. But there is a problem here. So now, can I, okay, tell me a command. There are many, so I don't know, I don't remember how many maximum namespaces. Can anyone put in ChatGPT and tell me how many maximum namespaces you can create? You have a lot of, many you can create it. Yeah. So we have to go into one and then have to create the body. Exactly, Ranjit. Correct, no? You need to go inside the namespace and then create the pods. Then only will be inside the, then only the pods will be created inside the particular namespace. Ranjit, correct. So guys, here, can you give me a command to delete the pods? Oh, that is also possible. That is also possible. Okay, tell me the command here to delete the pod. kubectl delete pod. Which pod? Let's say day 1 pod. Can I delete it? In which namespace I am in now? Prod. Can I delete pod 1? I mean day 1? Yes or no? What it says? Not found. Why it says not found? Because it's in which namespace? Prod namespace. Can you delete that guy? You eat your own biryani. Yes or no? Don't get the piece from outside. It has been long days, yeah, because of this bird flu. Okay. Yeah. You guys are reading? No one, no? Okay. You're Karthik. No, Ray, don't. If I get one support also, next time I'll go. And you're eating, huh? Okay. No, don't. Actually, there are some cases. And also, that another virus, what is that? GB, what is that? Not the China one. TCP, what is that? GRB. The GRB. So that is also getting very badly here. So what you need to do is just boil your water and drink. That GRB is coming because of with the water issues only. Okay. So, there's just to go and search. There are a lot of things. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Sham, I will just eat paneer and then. Okay, guys. Okay, let's say I think veggies will feel bad if I talk about all these things. So let's go. Here. Okay. देखो बाद में. The problem here is everyone will show you like this and they'll leave. But I'll tell you one problem here. I'm in which namespace? Rodga. But I'm deleting which one? But if I put here one option -n dev, हाँ क्या होगा? Delete होगा? गया साला. You are in your own space, but it is not. You are not talking. You are killing. Yes or no? That's the problem, right? Anyone can. What is the problem of namespace then? This is a problem. This is a problem, right? Huh? Each problem, right? So no one will tell you this. So this is a problem. I can delete anything also. Default IP deployment also I can delete it. It's not good. So for that reason only, we have something called RBAC. Which one? RBAC. So what is RBAC? Role-based access control. What is that? Role-based access control. So let's go. Yeah, Jenkins we have discussed there. Correct. If you want to troubleshoot someone, you can do this. Yeah. So yeah. So let's switch it to our default one if required. Let's switch it to default, or else you can keep it in dev also, no problem. RBAC. We'll use few more minutes because we'll complete this and then we'll finish this. Okay. See here. RBAC. Say with me. RBAC in Kubernetes is a method of regulating access to the resources in Kubernetes cluster based on roles of individual users or service accounts. There are two types of things here, users or service. Remember, in Kubernetes, there is no concept called users. In Kubernetes, we don't have concept called users. There is no API version library to create users here. You need to use the external external tools like identity provider. Remember? OAuth, SAML. In IAM, we have learned, right? Third-party authentications, you need to do it. So in companies, they have it, but we don't have anything here now at the moment. So in the real time, your company people will take care of it, setting up these authentications. So they will give the users, and then they will give the users, and they will be authenticating and be using your own namespaces, and you don't have permissions to others. They will be doing it. But to show you here how to set up this user permissions, I will not be using here users. I will not be using what? Users. I'll be using what here? Service accounts. Kubernetes can do the service accounts. Kubernetes can do what? Service accounts. Right? So what you need to do is, you need to, RBACs help you to define what actions that you need to. You need to get a, list a, create a, delete a, yes or no? You want to list the pods, get the pods, create the pods, delete the pods. What you want to do, everything will come under what? Actions. So can be specified on specific resources like pod services deployments. For that, two things we need to do. Three things we need to do. First, what you need to do is, I wrote it here. Yeah. Three things you need to do. These three things. The entire thing, what I mentioned is three things here. You need to create a service account. You need to create a role. You need to do the role binding to this particular user. First, you need to create what? User. User is nothing but here I'm going for service account. But is it possible to create user? No. So in Kubernetes, it's not possible to create users because you need to use the third party identity provider concept. You should be using it. That will be there in your companies already. To show you how the RBACs work. So what we do is we'll create a service account in the Kubernetes itself. And then we'll create a role, what exactly that he need to do it. And then we'll bind this role to the user. Similarly, in IAM, you create a user, create a policy, attach it. Same concept here. Create a user, write a permissions, attach it. So here also create a service account, create a role, that meaning give the permissions inside it, and then bind this role to the user. Got this? We'll do it tomorrow. So, we already crossed 4 or 5 minutes here. Actually, I need to complete this to you. Only this, we'll do it tomorrow. No problem. Let's not hurry. But you understand the RBAC things here? So tomorrow what we do, we will do the RBAC. We will create the small service account and then we'll write a manifest file to give the permissions. You can write a command, imperative command also. You can go with the manifest also. Anything is fine. So which one is best to go? Manifest. So I'll create one small YAML file to create a service account. I'll create one small YAML file to create a role. Understood? And I'll create one more YAML file to bind that role to the user. And then what we do is a service account. Let's say, for example, I given a name called Jack. What's that? Or you want Roxy also, you can do it, Roxy, no problem. And then what you do, if you need to impersonate meaning what? You feel that you are a Jack. So what we'll do is we can impersonate here and then see whether Jack can do those things or that I can show you. So tomorrow we'll do with that. And tomorrow that will do it. And tomorrow we'll go with the setting up the service, cluster IP, node ports, and load balancer. This topic we'll go tomorrow. Which one? Admin access. Will what? Create. This root account has an admin access. So this guy will create the service accounts. This guy will create the service account. Let's say I create a service account called Karthik. Account get will create it, Karthik. But I need to give permissions to Karthik, no? So as a commander here, root commander, I can I create a permission set or not? That permission is nothing but roles. I create a Karthik manifest file. To create Karthik manifest file, I'll create a role. In this role, I'll give Karthik's permissions. Karthik can do what here? And then I'll create one more YAML file to do the role binding this role to the Karthik. So here I'm the one who need to do all these things. So I have permissions to everyone, but Karthik will not have. You understand what I'm doing? Got the question? Yes. Okay. And you can create, no problem. Nice. So what is your task today? Set up the Kops and do the deployments. Okay. So do the 2 deployments and then after that, what we did, namespaces, go with the namespaces and then that's it. And then RBAC will continue tomorrow. RBAC and then services will continue tomorrow. Okay. Shall we create pods? Other 3 namespaces also is any create, no problem. You can create it, no issues. Saturday class, I don't know. Tomorrow is Saturday, Friday, no? So I think from Saturday, Ramadan will start. So, right? So there is no change in the schedule for you. There will not be schedule. Yeah, it will be same. But Saturday, let's see whether I'll be taking you. But sure, Saturday will be the morning class only. Evening will not be there. Okay. Mostly evening. So mostly morning only. Okay. All right. So any other questions left? All right. Kids is complicated other than topics, sir. But I'm making it as very smooth for you, isn't it? Yes or no? Did you feel that? So this is difficult, but you need to learn. That is the main reason, right? Most of the people outside, there are thousands of people are there. They know Kubernetes, they are working, but they don't know the logics. They don't know the logic. And you should be a little bit different, right, from others. So that's why you need to slowly, it's all about how you understand the topic. Yeah, Docker is bacha, Kubernetes is king. Okay. But APIs are running and scheduler running, right? Other namespace just what is it? What is that question, Dinesh? APIs are running, scheduler running, right? Another. Yes, you can create multiple namespaces in one run. You can create multiple namespaces. Dinesh, what is the command to list the namespace? kubectl get ns. And do you see this here? We all your what API servers and everything will be running inside the kube system only, right? This is a namespace. We created our own namespace called dev. Acha, you want to create in kube system, Dinesh? You want to? Why do you create? No, don't create it. You can create it, but it's not good to create at all. Okay, that's not recommended. You create it in your own default, or else create it in your own namespaces. Very good, Vivek. They know the commands to are not like, even I was copy pasting same. Now it's clear pod versus node versus namespaces. Very good. I'm very happy that you guys are applying in the real time and then you're able to understand now. No need to create Dinesh. Create in default or else create with your own namespace. When your new batch start AWS Wala. New batch will be soon started. Yes, because other batches started, other trainer batches started. So you can think a week maybe, but it will be in the morning. Sir, hats off to you. You put everything simply and you don't confuse students like other trainers. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Anup, for such a kind words. Yeah. Do you have to get container details other than describe? Inspect is there? No. Docker inspect. Yeah. Okay. Now, so I took 9 later. Okay. Can you give the final CC for today, please? Online.